And the third point in the model code of conduct is once it's announced, there is no rigging or rather, no minister can really, so to speak, announce new foundation projects, or lay the foundation stones for any new projects to last minute sway the voters or persuade them to indirectly turn their decisions, so on and so forth. Let's talk about voting and counting of votes. The day of voting and the counting of votes. Typically, there's a 2, 3, or a 4-day gap between these two events. When you go to vote in a particular voting booth, you're asked to produce a government-issued identity. Like I said, it could be the EPIC card, the election photo identity card, or the driving license, or your ration card, or any government-issued ID, really, recognized government-issued ID. Then you're made to vote as a voter where there is a sort of a small semi-open chamber where whom you vote for is not really visible, and you vote. Before you just go for your turn to vote, you're standing in a line. One of the election officials applies a dark black mark on your thumb or one of your fingers, and which is not very easy to rub, which is like evidence that you voted once and you are not allowed to vote again. And of course, the manual markings happen. Recently, in the EVMs, so the electronic voting machines, there has been a new innovation called as the VVPATs. VVPATs are slips that, if you've pressed a particular candidate or a party of your choice, electronically there is a slip that comes that shows that the vote has been registered in the name of the person and the party whom you intended to vote. So, for greater transparency, Election Commission has come up with this innovation. Once the voting concludes at 6 p.m. on the voting day, the EVMs are stored in a strong room, in a safe room, outside whom 24/7, 365, a representative of every party is allowed to sort of keep a keen watch so that there is no fraud of any kind. Also, representatives of parties are allowed in the voting booths to see that properly the election is being conducted. There is a limit on the number of people per party as such, but this is allowed both on the voting day and outside the strong room where the EVMs are kept, and even during counting, really, to ensure transparency and for no one to point a finger that our elections were not free and fair. One of the proudest things for us as Indians is Election Commission is highly respected, and there have been very, very few, if any, elections in our country whose results have really been disputed. What are the malpractices or the bad practices that happen in an election? One, despite being asked not to, parties still use government resources. In some cases, genuine voters' names are not included in the voters' list, or the names of those who are dead or have migrated are still added or kept in the voters' list. Sometimes there is intimidation the voters are sort of threatened to vote for a particular candidate, a particular party, etc. So while we have a lot going, it's still not perfect, and a lot of the rules are not followed. Like for one instance, excessively parties use certain amount of rich candidates who bring in a lot of funds for running their election campaigns, and obviously the figures that are given of a limit for a particular party are there just in writing, but they are not really there in spirit. So these are a few malpractices or bad practices followed. What are those? Those are specifically 4. One is that parties and candidates use government resources to removal of genuine voters' names and addition of dead or migrated voters' names in the voters' list, excessive use of rich candidates in canvassing for your party, etc., etc.